Okay, hey everyone. Part 9 of getting out of the military. You know, it's been a while. I'm sitting here in my garage. So it's been, if you follow my social media, I haven't been really posting a whole lot. Yeah, it was about a week and a half to get across the country from Washington to beautiful sunshine state of Florida. Um, been hitting the ground running with all the tedious, catching up with people, but all the tedious things I have to do to final out of the military. Um, yeah, all the weight tickets, making sure the paperwork's filled out properly because I did request advancements and I had a certain timeline to submit everything. Hopefully I did. Took a while. I submitted the DFAS Smart Voucher and, you know, didn't hear anything. I did that July 20th. So a few days after I got to Florida, and just this past week actually where I seen some headway. So I had a call, and apparently DFS didn't know, and finance kind of explained to me, but the process already began, so it took a while for them to get back to me. And then just yesterday, I believe, actually Monday, submitted the paperwork for the transportation office, so the weight tickets and everything, and that was pain because it seemed that took me about like a week and a half to do that in itself, and that was a headache in itself. Anything that could go wrong went wrong. Cable in my RV burnt, so couldn't activate the brake system, so had to wait until I get that fixed to get the final weight on that. Trailers that I used for the move, for some reason, just stopped working when I got here. It was just crazy, but got here. I'm just gonna, yeah, so that's that. Gonna take it back to my final week in the military. So my last week in the military, it was pretty crazy. Did have to do an SHPE, which is just a separation physical. Apparently, I don't know if that's Army-wide, but the base I was at, JBLM Washington, beautiful installation. If you think of going, I recommend it. It's a new requirement now, so I had to do that, and fortunately I picked the wrong time to do it because my whole brigade was on summer block leave, but luckily there were still a few that could help me out and fit me in the last minute. So I went in, got the appointment, and that's the appointment where you make sure everything that you kind of had in the military injury wise was documented, as well as anything that you didn't get a chance to document, you document it. And obviously you're not lying, you're making sure they know, and they annotate it and at least do a quick physical to let you know. So I did that, and then they're the ones that told me that I had to get it's also a rule too, that you have to get your final hearing test done too. And this was a Thursday, I believe, and Friday it was going into a 4-day weekend. So, because July 4th was the following week, so it was Thursday telling me I had to get it done, Friday being my final out date. So I had a rush. Luckily, was able to get in that same day, knocked it out, and as always was still lost my hearing. So yeah. Ran around base, all that, turning in my work stuff, doing the appointments, was able to go home, and then the big day came, Friday, July 1st. Sorry, June 30th. I don't know why I say that. But anyway, I went in, had all my documents in order, so I do, recommend getting there bright and early. I had to do something first. So I got to the Out Processing Center, Waller Hall it's called. I didn't get to it right when they opened, and I didn't know how many people were getting out of the Army, and it was quite a bit. So everyone trying to get in before the 4-day weekend, because those who were supposed to final out Monday or Tuesday were pushed to Friday because the 4-day weekend. So got there, waited, had a first clear post, so I had to get all the documentation. So the two documents, one that's clearing post and the one that clears your unit, I had to provide that, copies of my leave forms, So again, I took 20 days of PTDY, and literally just a couple weeks ago, I started my actual terminal leave. So I had to give them both of those DA31s off of, now done off of IPSE, signed. They gave me the final stamp, told me to go to separations desk, so where I signed my DD-214. I waited there a while, and it was a long process because again, everyone was retiring, separating, or just decided to go that day to submit stuff or talk to people for their DD-214. And I don't know, I'm surprised they did it, but that day they allowed some people who was signing out, like filing out, signing their DD-214 to leave, to make some changes if they provided the proof. Whereas during the brief, it did say, hey, if you have any updates, we ask in a week in advance, you submit it. Luckily for me, they pretty much got everything because it was missing stuff, but they did a pull the week prior or a few days prior to me actually signing it, and updated it significantly. One thing was missing, and the options they gave me were not good, or were not feasible actually, because so they were going by what another system said for one of my deployments, and it hasn't updated yet because it was a brand new deployment. It was a very recent deployment, so the one system didn't update indicating that I did deploy, and they said basically I can wait to sign it. But again, it was Friday before a 4-day, and I had to leave because everything was already set up to leave. The option was to hold off, don't sign it, go back to my S1 and ask them to update it, and wait for that process to update in the system, and then they can pick up on it. That was not feasible, so I'm kind of like fighting that battle right now. But I signed it. Yeah, I want to get out of there. I know it's not the right answer. I don't recommend it, but I told them, like in the brief of it, I wrote it down saying, hey, I'm missing this, and they updated they added another deployment, which is good. But the most recent one, they didn't get a chance to update it because there was no proof of it, and I didn't have any proof of it. It was only the system that provided that proof. So yeah, but don't recommend that. But anyway, got the DD-214, signed it, looked around. They give you, depending if you're retiring or you're just ETSing or separating, it'll give you something. I got a certificate, nice little certificate saying, hey, thanks for serving. The retirees got a whole manila folder. I didn't know what was in it. Picture taken, they got to ring a bell, which was pretty cool. But yeah, I signed it, looked around, didn't know what was next, and so I just eventually left. Say eventually because afterwards, oh, that's what it is. Yeah, doubling back, sorry. That morning I had to pick up my most updated medical records, so my hearing test, the separation physical, and a few other exams I had done. I had to pick up those records that morning, so that's why I was late and didn't get in as early as I wanted to out process. But anyway, so I went to the VSO for the VFW, the representative that gave him my updated, so he can help me submit those additional claims if there was any new findings for my VA stuff. So that was nice of him to help me out. So then I went home, but didn't know. So excited, so unreal, surreal, unreal, whatever. Didn't know what to do. I blasted this song I found called DD-214. You can look it up on YouTube. Really funny. I blasted it and I just drove off coast and across the country. And I'm home on terminal leave in Florida and loving it so far. I'll let you know. Obviously, you guys just keep following if you want to see how the process and how I turn out from getting out of the military to a few months, years later, and hoping for the best. I know I'll be fine. So I'm going to prove to all of you it's not scary. Don't let senior leaders that have gotten out and then came back in kind of because the job market wasn't the greatest, so it's safer to stay in. It's going to prove to you guys that, hey, just what you do with it,